If you are looking at the direction of your screen right now, you can clearly see that I'm about to break down Khamzat Chimaev versus Robert Whittaker. And before you start hating by saying, oh, how could you say overhyped for Khamzat? He is overhyped. Think about this, right? Khamzat Chimaev has beaten Gilbert Burns in a war, honestly, that could have potentially gone to Gilbert Burns, but I think Khamzat decisively won. And a razor-close fight against Kamaru Usman that I think Kamaru Usman actually won. So realistically, the hype of Khamzat Chimaev that he's going to be this two-division champion, going to beat everybody, smash everybody, going to submit them, it's overhyped in the context of what he's actually done to the way he's perceived by the general population. And now he's fighting Robert Whittaker, genuinely one of the 3 greatest middleweights to ever do it. People, I know Joe Rogan says it a lot, but people forget, man. People are forgetting right now how good Robert Whittaker is. Robert Whittaker was only not the champion just because of Israel Adesanya existing and the current champion Dricus du Plessis existing. The only 2 losses in the middleweight division that he has are those 2 guys. Other than that, schooled everybody. Marvin Vettori, good takedown ability, didn't even shoot a takedown, but got pieced up completely on the feet by Robert Whittaker over 3 rounds. Who else? Yoel Romero shot like 14 and 18 takedowns in their 2 fights. Took him down a few times and Whittaker got right back up. Brunson couldn't do it to him, stuffed those takedowns. Jacare Souza couldn't do it, stuffed those takedowns. And in some of those cases against Brunson and Souza, I believe he knocked them out. So this is Robert Whittaker we're talking about here. Khamzat Chimaev, sure, he's a more powerful grappler than those guys, more aggressive. I'm going to give Khamzat Chimaev the first and the second round potentially. I think he wins the first round for sure, that's a lock in my opinion. He'll win the first round, take Bobby Knuckles back, take him to the ground, take his back, and throw some ground and pound. I think Bobby Knuckles will survive here. The second round will come around. It'll be closer. But it'll be one of those cases where it's close on the feet, Khamzat's threatening the takedowns. He'll end the second round with a takedown. You can argue Whittaker wins that round, but Khamzat will probably be given that round considering it's in the Middle East. That doesn't have a commission, by the way. No commission in the Middle East. So they'll just throw on anyone that's going to be favorable to the Dagestanis. He'll win the second round, but I think 3, 4, and 5 is where the separation, the gap widens between the 2. I mean, Whittaker has amazing gas tank. Khamzat Chimaev, if there's anything about him that we sort of know, is that his gas tank is kind of shoddy. Like, he was losing to Kamaru Usman on the feet, wasn't able to get any takedowns, and was losing to him on the feet on short notice. Kamaru Usman moved upper weight division on short notice and arguably beat Khamzat Chimaev. Just because of cardio and the fact that he knew how to throw a 1-2, had a good jab, had some power in his shots, had a sting to him, you know what I mean? Bobby Knuckles has that in spades. In his last fight against Ikram Aliskerov, he rocked him, followed up with an uppercut, finished him off, found the chin. I know people say that maybe Bobby Knuckles doesn't have the greatest KO power, and he doesn't, but look at what he can do with his striking. He was able to beat Darren Till on the feet. And I know Darren Till's Darren Till. If you can take him down, you'll beat him. Which most people can, by the way. Most people have the ability to take down Darren Till. But look at what he did on the feet. He was going strike for strike with Darren Till, one of the best strikers in the division. Even if you don't think he's the best fighter, as a striker, you can't deny the fact that he is potentially only second or third to Whittaker and Israel Adesanya. That was the level of striker that Whittaker could go back hand to hand with. Yoel Romero, a power puncher, can KO people. Costa, kind of that, but not really. He's overhyped as a KO artist, in my opinion. Hasn't finished that many people. Couldn't even finish Chinny Luke Rockhold, you know what I mean? But he did catch Robert Whittaker with a nasty spinning back kick. A spinning heel kick straight to the jaw. And then he survived that and then won round 2 and 3. Bobby Knuckles can take a punch. Obviously against Dricus du Plessis he crumbled. But look at Khamzat Chimaev. Unless he's finishing you in the first round, like he has to so many fighters like Gerald Meerschaert, Li Jingliang, Kevin Holland, he will put all of his efforts in trying to finish you in the first or second round. And you got to think about this. Khamzat Chimaev has recently moved out of Sweden and has moved to the UAE, I believe, and found a new training camp. I know that might bring us a completely new Khamzat Chimaev with amazing gas tank, but I'm not going to go off that. I'm not going to go off speculation. I'm going to go off what has happened in the past. And what's happened in the past is Khamzat Chimaev has looked not the best against Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns. As good as Gilbert Burns is, he is not the greatest striker on the planet. He has some power to his shots, yes. Does he have the most technique? Or was he just throwing jabs and hook shots at Khamzat Chimaev? spamming them over and over against Khamzat Chimaev, and Khamzat Chimaev was getting hit often. Maybe he was a bit too prideful and didn't want to go for a takedown and wanted to strike with Gilbert Burns, but he got dropped. He got dropped, and I know in terms of jiu-jitsu, Gilbert Burns is far superior to Robert Whittaker, but Robert Whittaker doesn't have to be superior in terms of like triangling Khamzat Chimaev. He just needs to be good enough to not get submitted, which I think he can do. He will survive 2 rounds, rounds 3, 4, and 5. He'll pick it up, put the pace on Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev will crumble. I think Bobby Knuckles could even get a finish on Khamzat Chimaev later in the rounds. And I feel bad for Khamzat, because Khamzat, the hype train has been diminishing little by little to the point now where it's like, if Khamzat Chimaev loses, like, we're potentially losing all the hype, not just a little bit of it, but all of it. If he was active and then he eventually loses one, he could always just rebound like Ngannou did. After Ngannou lost to Stipe, and then he lost some more hype by losing to Derek Lewis. He rebuilt himself. He was KOing people in the first round, got to the belt, finished Stipe, and then everyone loved Ngannou again. With Khamzat, it's a bit different, because if he loses this, what's going to happen? He's going to fight once a year, every year, maybe twice a year at most, maybe if he's lucky and the stars align and he has his health in order. I don't think he can rebuild his star power as easily as Ngannou did, because Ngannou was fighting fast and often and getting highlight finishes over the best heavyweights on the planet. Again, the heavyweight division is trash. Don't get me wrong, the top of the middleweight division is definitely better. Like, I mean, Whittaker's ranked number 3 on the planet, which tells you everything you need to know. The guy's genuinely a top 3 middleweight of all time. And he's only ranked number 3 right now. 4th overall if you include the champion. But yeah, Khamzat Chimaev, if he loses here, what? He's going to fight a year later? People are going to forget by then. It's like Joe Rogan says, people forget, man. Well, yeah, they're going to forget if you don't fight for a whole year, and then every time you do fight, it's once every year. You're not fighting enough to be in people's minds here. I just don't think that Khamzat Chimaev, having not fought that often, having ring rust, and keep in mind, this fight was supposed to happen in June. Robert Whittaker trained for this camp before. He was ready for this. He was ready for the wrestling. Against Ikram, he didn't even have to use the wrestling. Just his striking got Ikram out of it in the first round. I know Ikram took it on short notice, but Ikram's got some power in his hands, I think. Got some technique. I think he's a quite skillful striker, if not anything else. And Khamzat Chimaev also finished him in the first round, don't get me wrong. But I feel like this will be different. I feel like Robert Whittaker is just too crafty on the feet. He's been in the game for a long time. He's fought the who's who of the division. He's fought Yoel Romero, a guy made out of genuine titanium. Didn't get finished by him, got rocked, survived. I don't think Khamzat Chimaev's striking is going to get it done. I know the striking of a fighter gets better the better they are at wrestling and takedowns, because you'll always have that in the back of your mind. That they can shoot at any time, so they can catch you with an overhand right or anything like that. But in this case, I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Khamzat Chimaev is too... When he's going for a takedown, he's going for a takedown. You know what I mean? He caught Joel Mearshot, fair enough. But I don't think Robert Whittaker is going to do what every single Khamzat Chimaev opponent seems to do, which is start the fight with an overhand right. Not every single, but a lot of them do that. Because they're just so scared. They don't want to go to the ground. They don't want to test their jiu-jitsu. They don't want to see what it's like. They don't want to feel the pressure of Khamzat. They're scared. They want to get him out of this as soon as possible. They know the longer the fight goes, they'll wear down. I don't think that'll happen to Bobby Knuckles. He's the bald eagle of Australia, let's be honest here. I'm Team Australia here, being that I reside in Australia and I've grown up here most of my life. He's the bald eagle of Australia, and we need him to win here. Because here's the thing, I know Khamzat Chimaev is a bigger star, but if he wins, he will be waiting out a whole year for his next fight. Bobby Eagles, that's his new nickname, Bobby Eagles, that's what I'm calling him. Bobby Eagles is going to fight potentially in February in Sydney card, fighting for a title. And if not, then he'll fight later on in June. He'll fight whenever they need him to fight. Maybe give him like 3 to 4 months off. You know, he needs a little bit of rest, give him some Christmas time with his family. Right after Christmas, right after the New Year's, he's back in training camp. He's going to be fighting. He's going to be giving us entertainment. I just don't see Khamzat Chimaev being able to handle the onslaught of Robert Whittaker. And you got to think of it like this, right? Everyone's saying that Khamzat's the boogeyman. The boogeyman of who? He hasn't fought a single middleweight since he moved up. He's fought Kamaru Usman on short notice with bad knees, coming off 2 losses. A weight division above from what he normally fights at. And then he beat that guy. And I think that fight could have realistically been a draw. If you really want to die on the hill that round 1 is a 10-8 round, that fight I feel like would have been a draw. I just feel like they just wanted Khamzat Chimaev to win. They're in the Middle East. Any close round will go to him. And it'll happen here, but I think Whittaker can get it done more decisively. I like the attitude he's bringing. I like the fact that he's saying to Khamzat that he's going to bring the fight to him. He's going to push the pressure, go forward, go forward, go forward, head hunt, look for the head, go to the body. Maybe he'll go to the body, and he has good range control. I think I think Robert Whittaker has some really good range control. I think Khamzat Chimaev rushes in with his striking to go for the takedown attempts. I think Bobby Knuckles can catch him. I think he can catch him with an uppercut. I think he has some options here. I think he has a kicking option as well, like leg kicks to Khamzat Chimaev over the course of a fight, can build up. Khamzat Chimaev himself has some good kicks himself. Kind of underrated part of his game. He does throw some calf kicks. He does go to the body. The reason he goes to the body is because he wants to go to the body, make his opponent want to fire back immediately to get one back, and then when they do that, he goes for a takedown. He wants his opponents to overswing. I don't think Robert Whittaker will do that. And the fact that there's been 2 training camps, he specifically drilled this over and over and over again, what to do in this fight, and he has a very high fight IQ. I think he can break Khamzat Chimaev. I think he can break him. And how many times have we seen that? Jared Cannonier was this monster with insane power in the middleweight division in his prime. Drops Whittaker. Whittaker gets right back up and wins rounds 2 and 3. Darren Till gets dropped, wins the next few rounds. It's what he does. It's what Whittaker does. He comes through adversity. Joel Romero gets dropped, comes back and wins the later rounds. It's just who he is. Always trust Whittaker in rounds 3, 4, and 5 if it goes there. He was doing really well against Adesanya in the second fight. Really well. I know he was using the takedowns, and maybe that's not an option in this fight, but I think Robert Whittaker can always just throw out a takedown attempt to have it in the back of the mind of Khamzat Chimaev. Like Usman did that. Usman didn't even go for a takedown. But he did threaten a takedown. He went low, faking a takedown on Khamzat Chimaev, and Khamzat Chimaev all of a sudden was a little more hesitant. And Whittaker, I think, is going to know that Khamzat's going to be trying to end rounds by taking him down. He'll be prepared for those specific minutes because he's gotten to see Khamzat Chimaev in a longer fight against Kamaru Usman. If Khamzat fights Whittaker like he fought Gilbert Burns, he's getting slept. No other way around it. The hype train will end at UFC 308. Robert Whittaker, it feels like everyone's forgetting how good he is. For some reason, he's an underdog. I mean, I understand he should be an underdog just because of the hype that Khamzat Chimaev has. And the betting companies know that more people will be putting money on Khamzat Chimaev. But if you're a smart fan, you know this is a 50-50 fight at best, if not an advantage to Robert Whittaker. I mean, look at the guys he's beaten. Would Khamzat easily beat all of them? I don't think so. We'll see though. I think UFC 308, Khamzat Chimaev gets exposed. He hasn't fought enough. He's been sick over and over again. I don't know how much he's been training. Whittaker has trained a lot in this past year. He trained for the Costa fight early in the year. Middle of the year, he wanted to fight Khamzat. He trained specifically for him. Ended up knocking out Ikram Iskarov. Shook off any ring rust that could have been. And now he's going to close out the year by fighting Khamzat and make a run for Fighter of the Year. I don't think he'll quite get it because of Pereira existing. But the runner-up, like, he's definitely in the conversation for it. 3 wins, 2 top 10 dudes, 1 Ikram, you know what I mean? Like, I think he'll make a push for... He won't be the Fighter of the Year, but I think he'll definitely be top 3. 3 wins, 3 high-level wins, high-profile wins, main event caliber fights. I think he beats Khamzat Chimaev, and I think the experience will get it done. I think the skills on the feet, Robert Whittaker is way better than Khamzat. I don't think Khamzat's power is going to be that crazy, especially at middleweight. Like, he was losing on the feet to Kamaru Usman, who was just bloated at the time. You know what I mean? Whittaker's got this. I think Whittaker's going to win. And I've got money on this, and I'll show you guys. This is what I've got on it. $125 on Robert Whittaker. He's an underdog. $2.80 it's paying. Take that gamble. Put $10 on it. He's the underdog. You're going to profit. The reward is worth it. I mean, it's Robert Whittaker. Like, imagine Robert Whittaker being this big of an underdog against anyone but Adesanya. Especially someone who's had shown clear flaws every time they fought one of the best opponents they've ever fought in their career, in Gilbert Burns and Usman. That's going to do it for me. Bobby Knuckles, disrespected for some reason. He'll get the title shot. He'll fight the winner of Duplessis versus Strickland likely midway through next year. And I like his chances against Strickland. And I don't mind his chances against Duplessis either. I think he's smarter. Look at how he just did the Adesanya fight. Arguably could have won that second fight. I think he'll make the adjustments. I think he'll get it done. I think he'll beat Khamzat Chimaev. And I think he's still in his prime. He's not washed up yet. Still a prime Whittaker looking to get back in the title shot. Hungry. I think he gets it done. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm at 60 subscribers. Let's get me to 70, guys. Come on. Just press that subscribe button. I'll see you guys later. Awkward ending to the video, but, you know.